Hello and welcome. I am Dr. Felix Oyeleye, and this is episode 3 of our hands-on SPSS training series. In the last section, we learned how to enter and import data from Excel into SPSS. Now that your data is safely inside SPSS, it is time to make sure that SPSS actually understands what each variables mean. Today, we will learn how to define variable property. Number 2, add variables and value label. And number 3, handle missing data properly. By the end of this video, your data set will be fully organized and ready for analysis. Let's start from the variable view. Remember, this is where we define all the properties of our variables, what they are, how they are coded, and how SPSS should treat them during analysis. Here is a quick breakdown of the key column in our SPSS variable view. The first is name, where we indicate short variable name like age, gender, or course. Next is the type column. This is where we define if a variable is numeric, string, or date. Next is the width. This is where we control the extent of display of our data. And then we have the decimal. The decimal indicates how many decimal places we want our variable or our variable is likely to occur with. Next is the column for label. This is the points where we give a longer descriptive name to our variables, like age of respondent, course of study, level of satisfaction. Next is the value column. The value column is used for categorical variable. This is where we assign codes like 1 to male or 2 to female for our categorical variables. The next column is the missing column. This actually allows us to specify special codes for our missing data. There are times people feel, say, our questionnaire or we conducted a survey and certain information are missing in our survey instruments. We can pre-code those missing instruments to carry special codes so that SPSS can understand how to treat such missing data. The next is the measurement column. The measure column is where we define if our variable is nominal, ordinal, or scale. Please check my video on variable and scale of measurement for clarity on the scale of measurement of variable. Check out the link in the description for clarity on that topic. Let's start by opening one of the files we work with in episode 2, and that is the student_survey file that we created. So you will head over to the top left corner and click on File, and then click Open. Then you select Data. Now you look for the location of the file, which is on desktop, and then I pick the file, and then I click Open. Our students survey data sets that we created the other time in episode 2. In the variable view, you will see column for ID, gender, age, course, satisfaction, and study hours. Now let's define and label them properly. Under the ID, we describe it as respondent ID. Respondent ID. And then we indicate it as a nominal variable, since it is just an identifier, so it is a nominal variable. Next is the age variable. Now let's describe it as our age of respondent. And then for the measure, it is scale. Next is our gender variable. So here we describe it as gender. And then it is important to indicate, since our gender is a categorical variable, it's important we indicate under the value label 1 has been assigned for male, and 2 for female. And then we click Add, and then we click OK. Now it's also important we indicate in the type, we indicate numeric, since we have assigned numbers to them. And then we indicate OK. And then we leave it as nominal. Next is course. For course, under the description, we describe it as course of study. Course of study. And then we indicate it also as nominal, being a categorical variable. Next is satisfaction. Satisfaction. So we indicate it as satisfaction with online learning. Now for the satisfaction variable, what we have done is that we have been able to rank our level of satisfaction. So for measure, we are going to indicate it as ordinal. The last of them is the study hour. The study hour variable is numeric, and then we have to indicate it as label. Under label, we say study we call it average study hour. Average study hour. And then we indicate it as scale. Now, when we move to the data view, you will observe that SPSS still stores number in our gender column, but it actually understands them as categories. So when we come here, select this column and click on value label. It's going to indicate our actual gender there. Okay? You can also activate the value label to see this. Sometimes respondents skip question or data isn't recorded. That is where the missing value come in. For instance, let's say satisfaction has a few blank spaces, but you coded them as 99 to tell SPSS that 99 means missing data. In the variable view, find the missing data column for satisfaction. This is satisfaction. This is the missing value column. Click on the cell. Select discrete missing value. Then you type 999. Click OK. SPSS will now exclude those cases automatically when running analysis, keeping your result accurate. Now, it's important to always choose missing value codes outside your valid data range. For example, if satisfaction runs from 1 to 5, then you can use 99, not 5 or 6. Finally, make sure that your measure column is correct. Nominal categorizes without order. An example is gender or course. Ordinal categorizes with order, and that is satisfaction in our data sets. Scale talks about continuous numeric data. An example, as we have it in our data set, is the age and the study hour. This helps SPSS choose the right test automatically when you start analyzing your data. Now it's your turn. Open your own data set or the student survey file that we have just treated. Define all the variables in the variable view and add proper label and value codes. Assign missing value where needed. Save your work as student_survey_cleaned. Once you have done that, your data set will be clean, labeled, and ready for descriptive analysis. Great job! Your data is now fully defined. SPSS can now finally understand what your numbers mean. But here is the exciting part. Now that SPSS knows your variables, how do you make sense of the data itself? How do you check if your numbers make sense? Find average or visualize trends. That's what we will be exploring next. In episode 4, we will dive into data cleaning essentials, detecting error, finding outliers, and preparing for real statistical analysis. So, don't miss it. Hit subscribe button. Drop a comment if you have tried this on your data, and let's keep learning together. It is still research and statistics. I'll see you in the next episode.